Well, looks like that time again.
Well, looks like it's that time again. Time to meet up and do an LET draft analysis video.
Nope. We don't feel like dying on the road today, so we're just going to pretend that we're together and present our thoughts on the draft this season.
And to add expert flavor to the mix, we asked Frostfire, an incredible battler and coach of Season 3, to help us out. Why don't you introduce yourself, Frost?
Is that why he's such a good battler? Will do. But before we jump into it, I should probably explain that the LET utilizes a comparative stat system known as weighted defenses, which better illustrates a Pokemon's defensive capabilities against one another by taking into account their health stat. For the sake of context, stats that normally look like this will instead look like this. And yes, Feraligatr does in fact take special attacks better than Hitmontop. I'd go into more detail, but due to a lack of time, that'll have to be for another video on another day. Alright, let's do this. First up, we have the Columbus Swoo, coached by Ruppy. At first glance, the team appears to be quite strong and fast. We've got some blazingly fast Mons in Zorora and Swellow, with Infernape not too far behind. His Fairy Dragon Steel Core and Primarina Dredigan and Scizor can be very hard-hitting while bulky at the same time. Scizor and Dredigan provide nice team support with Defog and Rocks respectively. Primarina is slow but a very powerful, especially offensive wall breaker. His Fire Water Grass Core is also very strong. Infernape, Celebi, and Primarina / Mega Blastoise are all solid, high-tiered Pokemon. However, Frost is curious as to why you have two water types, especially since, while having two water types isn't necessarily uncommon, the two in question are both bulky, especially offensive wall breakers. This can be seen as a bit redundant. Frost believes Ruppy's biggest strength is his hazard control, both stacking and removal. He has 4 rockers and 4 removers. However, Stealth Rocks being the only hazard option makes the multitude of hazard setters a little less special. Something like Toxic Spike can be very crucial for whittling down Mons and allowing faster Pokemon like Zorora to take some sweet revenge. Overall, Frost believes his team to be well balanced in bulk, speed, and power.
Transitioning into the next coach of the Mystic Division, we have the New York Aqua Jets coached by Carnage. At first glance, this team looks very specially offensive with mons such as Stundy Eye, Hydreigon, Salazzle, and Togekiss, just to name a few. He has decent bulk with Necrozma, Suicune, Togekiss, Swampert, and Mega Aggron. The biggest hole Frost sees with this bulk is that it basically loses to a strong electric type with grass coverage, so it looks like he'll be shot to death a couple times this season. His speed tiers are pretty nice, having a 117 with Salazzle, 111 with Dundee, 108 with Horizon, and 98 with Hydra, so on and so forth. The biggest question Frost has for him is, why the triple water? He gets Quailfish. It's for the spikes and the toxic spikes, but it makes that team much weaker to a strong electric type as stated before. The hazard game is pretty great though, 3 very solid and reliable rockers. In addition to them, he has both types of spikes with Quailfish. He also has nice removal with 4 deep Falkers. However, not having a spitter may make it difficult to keep hazard on one side of the field. Overall, Frost feels like this team had a very fun draft and can't wait to see how it performs.
Who let this guy in? I guess we can talk about his draft. I swear, Eco, I didn't write this. We have the Florida Feraligatrs, coached by Eco. This team is a very nice mix of fast offensive pivots such as Tapu Koko and Tornadus Therian, though it also appears to have some nice bulk and Tangrowth, the Carkeys, and Kyurem. Not only does it have all the above, but he can make it rain. Not in the money sense, though. Frost is referring to Polytoon's Drizzle ability, which allows Mega Swampert to be as fast as a Fluff Boy, giving Tapu Koko the capability to run Thunder and let Tornadus Therian actually hit its most powerful stab move, Hurricane. To go along with his speed in the rain, he has Hazards, everyone's favorite thing to run, and he has Klefki as a very reliable spike setter, Drapion as a toxic spike setter who could catch some opponents off guard. Not now, Frost. And both Mesmer and Megapert to set up those stealthy pebbles. He has 4 defoggers but no spinner, so he's in the same boat as Carnage regarding hazards. Frost is excited to see how the Speedy Rain team performs and to see what creative sets will be brought.
For our last mistake, we have Green Bay Stack as coached by Muddy. Muddy was able to get help from the #1 team coach from last season, Frost himself. Yeah, you can tell Frost wrote this one. After he made a tad bit of a mistake drafting the biggest unknown of all time, round 1, Tapu Bulu. I think Eco would disagree with that. Thankfully, Muddy has so much bulk and offense that he can actually support this bull grass thing. He has Latios, Greninja, Torn Eye, Stoutland, and Mega Aerodactyl, which can all do massive damage to assist Tapu Bulu and get kills. But he has some very bulky boys as well, such as Powdown, Rotom Heat, Alomomola, Bronzong. Alomomola provides him with wish support, which will help his whole team and make his wish of getting wins come true. But enough with that fat pig fish, let's talk some speed tiers. He has some of the fastest but offensive mons, with Aerodactyl being at 150, Greninja being at 122, Torn Eye being at 111, and Latios right behind at 110. His hazard game is pretty great, as he has Hippo, Bronzong, and Aerodactyl, who can all set up rocks pretty easily. But the most notable assistant to his hazard game is Greninja, being able to provide him with both types of spikes. His removal game is pretty hot too, as he has Latios, Rotom Heat, Torn Eye, and Mega Arrow, all which get defogged for the third time in a row. 4 defoggers, and no spinners. People must really hate spinners. Frost really hopes that Muddy can excel using this team and have a ton of fun at the same time. Aren't you gonna help him build?
Starting out the Instinct Division, we have the Mountain Mythicals, coached by, well, this guy next to me, Corona. His draft features a ton of bulk with a few very hard hitters. One of his most versatile mons in the draft, Landorus Therian, can be used as bulky or offensive. It has bulky friends in the pink black glob known as Clefable, Rotom Wash, Uxie, and Tangela. These walls cover each other pretty well, so I guess I could see something like Landorus Therian, Clefable, and Rotom Wall Core being very tough to break. In addition, he has some very hard-hitting setup sweepers and wall breakers, featuring Landorus Therian, as mentioned before, the huge offensive threat in full Corona, one of the hardest-hitting dragons in Haxorus, Sneasel, and Mega Man Electric. His speed tiers leave a bit to be desired, having only 2 Pokemon above base 100 and 1 at 100, but everything else makes up for it. He has an incredible Volt Turn core with Landorus Therian, Rotom Wash, Uxie, Mega Man Electric, and even full Corona if he wants to get fancy. He also has 4 Rockers, 3 of which are very reliable, but these are his only hazard setters. His hazard removal's pretty bad, considering that he has a ×4 weakness to rocks but only 2 defoggers. Overall, this team looks pretty fun, and it looks like he'll be able to keep up the momentum quite nicely.
At the almost halfway point, we have the Virginia Victinians, coached by last season's champion Mike. Let's see if he can beat back-to-back champions with this team that he's drafted. Mike drafted so many setup options, such as Dragon Dance and Coil Zygarde, Calm Mind Raikou, Swords Dance Rock Polish, and Calm Mind Cobalion, Calm Mind Gardevoir, and even Nasty Plot, Alolan Persian. He has a very bulky Fire, Water, and Grass core, with Arcanine, Blastoise, and Mega Venusaur. On the flip side, his Fairy Dragon Steel core is very more offensive, featuring Gardevoir, Zygarde 50%, and Cobalion, which can all hit very hard and run a variety of sets. The speed tiers are decent, having Raikou, Alolan Persian at 115, Cobalion at 108, and Slacking at base 100. Let's not forget that he also has Ditto, which can be very helpful for preventing him from being swept, and in turn he can counter sweep his opponent. His hazard removal is extremely poor, only having Blastoise and Articuno. Frost guesses someone's gonna get hazard stacked this season. His hazard setting is also quite lacking, only having 1 Stealth Rock user in Cobalion, which often doesn't want to carry them. Overall, this team looks pretty nice. He has some very few holes that could definitely use some catching. Don't worry, Frost. His opponents will be patching up those holes with rocks.
Up next, we have the Rompingus, Polion, coached by Aaron 12. This team is so bulky. It has one of the best bulky water types and overall walls in Milotic, plus the bulky hazard setting Prickly for Rawthorn. Not only does he have these two, but he also has even more bulk with Florges and Incineroar, both of which can hit quite hard. Well, actually can be quite hard to kill, with Intimidate and Assault Fist respectively. There's also Mudsdale and Blast of All Mega Latias. Wow, that will be really hard to break. Frost does feel that he needs to talk about offense, though. After all this bulk talk, he has 3 pretty fast, hard-hitting mons in Terrakion, Crobat, and kinda Zebstrika. Frost understands that the team is generally going to be relying more on his bulk, but luckily he has the hazards to support it. He's got Ferrothorn with Stealth Rocks and Spikes, Masquerain with Sticky Web support on the offensive side, Mudsdale with Rocks, and Omastar with both Spikes and Stealth Rocks. Mike better hope that Aaron miraculously forgets about his hazard options when the time comes to face him. His removal's decent, having Florges, Crobat, Masquerain, and Mega Latias. If there's one thing Frost could recommend for this team, it would be to be offense, because he definitely has enough bulk. Really? Just one thing? I think Frost just kind of gave up when it comes to mentioning a lack of spinners.
Up last in the Instinct Division, we have the Mew Saints, coached by Biggest of Daves. This team looks very scary and offensive. Almost every member on this team hits extremely hard. He has the extremely fast Weavile, the incredibly bulky Sylveon, who can hit extra hard holding Choice Specs, Magnezone, who can often live the hit and throw a bigger punch, or you can say bulk back. Neelago, which has amazing coverage and can get beast boosts to easily sweep. Chandelure, which has one of the highest base special attacks of all non-legendaries or megas. Araquanid, which can hit very hard with Liquidation thanks to Water Bubble, and Mega Latios, who can hit hard on both sides. His speed tiers are alright. He has Weavile, Neelago, and Mega Latios. His hazard setters are Neelago with Rocks and 2 Spikes, Araquanid with Sticky Webs to support his slow yet hard hitters, both Gligar and Piloswine with Rocks. His hazard removal is so-so, having Serena to Rapid Spin, and both Gligar and Mega Latios to defog. But Frost, he actually has a spinner! Overall, this team looks like it'll definitely pack quite a few punches and be hard to switch into.
To start off the best division, Valor, we have the Coquitlam Gyarados, coached by Howler. This team features some very hard hitters such as Azumarill, Garchomp, Roserade, and Mega Alakazam. His bulk is not terrible either. He's the big hungry Snorlax, Electros, the eel without a weakness thanks to Levitate, the Scavalier, the unpredictable Tier 4 Doggo known as Silvally, and Diancie. His setup is amazing too, with Belly Drum Azumarill, Swords Dance Chomp, Curse Snorlax, Swords Dance Scavalier, Bulk Up and Dragon Dance Scrafty, Trick Room Diancie, and the scariest of all, Calm Mind Mega Alakazam. The speed tiers are pretty nice, having an incredibly fast Mon in Mega Alakazam, the fast spinner known as Starmie, and Garchomp, who's just barely over 100. His hazard setting's alright, having 2 rockers with Garchomp and Diancie, and both spikes with his franchise Pokemon Roserade. His removal leads a tad to be desired, considering he only has 1 spinner and 1 defogger. Again, Frost, at least he has 1 spinner. He's alarmingly only has Electros for ground immunity, so Thousand Arrows poses an oversized threat to this team. Overall, the team has a lot of setup and hard hitters, which will make it very hard for a lot of Pokemon to survive his attacks.
Next, we have the Crystal Palkias. Well, since it appears that Frost has got distracted by that good-looking Infernape over there, I guess I'll have to give my own thoughts on the Crystal Palkias coached by Jamesy. So, looking at his team, I see he has 2 of my mythicals, Victini and Manaphy. Both are great diverse mons, like all mythicals are. I see great physical wall in Skarmory and Donphan. He can also beef up his team with Alolan Ninetales Aurora Veil. Victini behind Veil can be pretty scary. He has fast pivots, which include the hardest hitting New-Turner, Mega Beedrill, Jolteon, and Leopard. His hard-hitting offense mons include the 2 mythicals, Donphan, Jolteon, Dhelmise, and of course, Queen Mega Bee. In terms of hazard support, he has Skarmory for Spikes and Rocks, and Donphan for Rocks. He has good hazard control with Skarmory to defog, Donphan, Hitmontop, and Dhelmise to spin. Hey! So that's where all the spinners went. Thanks to a plethora of pivots, the Crystal Palkias have plenty of opportunities to bring Victini and Mega Beedrill in to deliver some devastating blows. Well, most Pokemon. Or even find the perfect time to get Manaphy in and start setting up. He has no shortage of fast mons. The spread of speed tiers leaves a lot to be desired, with a huge hole between 70 and 100. With a plethora of hazard removal options and plenty of screen and paralysis support options, one needs to take advantage of this team's limited recovery before he delivers one too many blows.
We then have the Westbrook War Turtles, coached by ST. You sure you don't want to come over here and help me out? Oh, okay, never mind then. Looking over his team, it's clear that it does not lack power, with only Wartortle and Mega Sableye lacking attack stats above 100, since Marowak effectively has a base 212 attack thanks to his Thick Club. And amongst the power, there's quite a lot going on. You've got some solid Volt Turn between Zapdos, Azelf, and Rotom Mow. There's some nice hazard setters in Azelf, Scolipede, Empoleon, and Marowak, as well as some Bulk and Kyurem Black, Eviolite, Wartortle, and even the likes of Zapdos, Empoleon, and Mega Sableye when we're talking about their typing and recovery options. Gramble's not bad either, thanks to Intimidate and the Mono Fairy typing. Wartortle's defenses aren't much lower than Heatran's when holding an Eviolite, so it can be quite a reliable spinner, which is nice, keeping the Stealth Rocks and Toxic Spikes on the opponent's side of the field, and putting the Westbrook Wartortles in quite the advantageous state. Mega Sableye is pretty good at keeping the opposing hazards away as well, and there's always 3 more Defoggers just in case. With powerhouses like Kyurem Black, Marowak, Azelf, Zapdos, Scramble, and even the likes of Empoleon and Scolipede, virtually anything SD puts out there has the potential to deliver some terrifyingly powerful blows. Good luck figuring out which Pokemon to attempt to set up against.
Finally, the last one, the Stockholm Kinglish, coached by the Swedish... Sorry, I butchered that. He has great offensive power with the likes of Mega Charizard X, Mamoswine, Hitmonlee, Superior, and Jirachi. Megazard with Dragon Dance threatens so many things with his great coverage and raw firepower thanks to Tough Claw. Superior becomes threatening after a Leaf Storm Contrary boost, and its nasty anti-defogger thanks to its ability to increase evasiveness if it swaps into one. He has great bulk with Mana Buzz, Toxapex, Miltank, and even Jirachi if he so chooses to run it in that manner, since Jirachi's weight defense is matched out of Miltank. He has hazard setters in Miltank, Jirachi, Mamoswine for rocks, Toxapex, Roselia for T-Spikes, Roselia with Spikes, and Rabombi with Sticky Webs. His defoggers are Superior, Manabuzz, Rabombi, Rotom, and Charizard X. He was also able to grab a spinner in Hitmonlee, which is indeed an accomplishment since Jamesy is sporting all the spinners this season. Though, Unburden, Normal Gem, Fake Out, plus High Jump Kick is a fun time as well. And the fact that he has a reliable U-turns in Jirachi, Rabombi, and a Volt Switch in Rotom, in conjunction with the massive amount of other team support options he has, it means that Pokemon like Superior and Mega Charizard X will likely have opportunities to absolutely wreak havoc. Scary sweet.
And that's everyone! Let us know which teams are most intriguing to you in the comments below.
Thanks again to Frostfire for helping us cover the basics of these teams as we go into the first week of battles.
Battle videos will be posted every Friday at 2 p.m., so we hope you guys will stay tuned in as we dive into Season 4.
Also, prizes. That's all.